Hello, trumpet players. I want to introduce you to my latest book. It's called Trumpet Christmas Duets. It's technically a sequel to this. It's our most popular book right now, Trumpet Hymn Duets, and we're going to tell you all about it in this video. I want to start off by reading the official description of the book that we put up on the different websites. It goes something like this. Heartfelt Christmas carols for any Christmas program. Trumpet Christmas Duets is an interesting collection of favorite classics. Some are festive, some are pleasant, most are joyous. There are 21 trumpet duets for intermediate to advanced trumpet players. Trumpet Christmas Duets is perfect for family gatherings, Christmas Eve services, school Christmas concerts, and your annual Christmas party. The Christmas carols in this trumpet duet book include Angels We Have Heard on High, Away in a Manger, Deck the Halls, The First Noel, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, Good King Wenceslas, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Holly and the Ivy, In the Bleak Midwinter, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, Joy to the World, Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silence, O come, all ye faithful, O come, Emmanuel, O holy night, O little town of Bethlehem, Kempis Carol, Silent Night, Still, 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 We Three Kings of Orient are, and finally, What Child Is This? Those were listed in alphabetical order. The actual duets in the book are in order of difficulty. I want to tell you before we get deeper into the book that we are selling the individual duets separately also. We need you to know that for two reasons. I don't want you to feel pressured to buy the book. And if you've already bought those others, I don't want you to feel like we're ripping you off by now selling you something you already had. This is all, what do they call that? Transparency, okay? We don't think that people should have to buy the whole thing. So we do make it available individually. Now, it's worth mentioning here that the lowest we can charge for a single product is $4.99, and this is for reasons of all the fees that get taken out of each transaction. And I'm not going to go into it deeper than that, but yes, the smaller the product is, the price cannot follow that because otherwise there's no point in having it up. So $4.99 per duet. If you think you might be buying 4 or 5 of these, you might as well buy the book because you're going to get a better deal. Had to mention that first. Secondly, we do have play-along recordings, and they're set up, it used to be in the old days you turn the balance to the left, you turn the balance to the right. That's not necessary today. You can have separate tracks, so that's what we did. We have separate tracks. The first trumpet is on one track, the second trumpet is on the other track. There are clicks so that you can be together. And yes, for your information, it is yours truly on those play-along tracks. So if you ever wanted to play duets with me, but couldn't make it to Houston, go ahead and get the play-along tracks. The play-alongs will be available. First of all, you can buy them outright at our music store, tigermusicstore.com. You can go to the album section and download the MP3s in a zip file. And that's one way to get the recordings. Otherwise, you can get them wherever music is sold. or streamed. Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, all of those, wherever you get your music on a regular basis, you can get those play-along tracks and play along with me on these Christmas carol duets. Alright, next. For those of you who have not heard about my trumpet hymn duets, both of these books follow the same principles, the same underlying foundational principles. As you probably know, I've been writing original trumpet duets since probably 1975. Well, no, I'm sorry, 76. I started composing. I didn't know it was composing. Some of you may have heard me say that before. When I first started composing, I didn't know that that was a thing. I wrote stuff down that I liked how it sounded. And in fact, I can attribute, I'm sorry, wrong word. I can attribute these compositions to my uncle, who gave me, when he came to visit us, he gave me a manuscript book that had chord markings on the back. And I saw those chords, it was like a world opened up to me. And I started writing stuff in that manuscript book, and that was my very first compositions. And they were mostly trumpet duets. I've written, literally to this point in my life, I've literally written hundreds and hundreds of duets. Most of them are lost. I have one that survived from those early days, and it's in the Celebrations book. Nobody would know, right? You see that in there, and you're like, this fits with all the rest of them. But yes, the point is, when I'm writing trumpet duets, I like to make them, I shouldn't use the word fun, exciting. I like to make them interesting. I like to make them different, creative, rhythmically complex. I like to do stuff like that. I even like to jazz stuff up and stuff. If you've heard my trumpet trios for the Christmas stuff, you hear that I actually treat very creatively some of the Christmas settings. And I enjoy doing that. These two books, the Trumpet Hymn Duets and the Trumpet Christmas Duets, are not part of that. I decided when I sat down to do this that I would honor the harmonies and the mood of the original hymns and the original Christmas carols. And what does that mean? I remember when I was doing research for this, and I saw some of the comments where people left bad reviews. They didn't like that you couldn't tell what hymn it was. They couldn't tell what Christmas carol it was. Because it was so elaborate, you lose track of the original Christmas carol. These Christmas carols and the trumpet hymn duets, the books from this series, and it's now that we have two, it's going to be a series, are not like that. The first thing that I do when I work on this project, let's say I decide, okay, I'm going to do Away in the Manger. I print out Away in the Manger, and the first thing I do is a harmonic analysis. And that harmonic analysis is I don't break away from that, except for maybe in the transitions. Let's say there's a modulation from one key to the next, I might use some other harmonies. But during the actual hymn, during the actual Christmas carol, I stick to the original harmonies. And later, so it's in theme and variations form, we might have an introduction. Almost always, that first statement of the theme is a very simple statement with just the melody and my special, I say special, because I put a lot of effort into making these second parts. It's not just a second part copied and pasted from the hymnal. I put a lot of effort into making these second parts work. I want the second part to work as a duet, but also when you go play this somehow with the choir, it will also work there. It's the same harmonies. And you know, if you just take stuff, if you take the alto part from the duet, from the hymnal, and play it with the soprano part, it doesn't work. It's very rare for that to work. There are some hymnals that I have that were written so that you could have one person, two people, three people. I have some hymnals that my mom gave me that are set up that way. They're like camp. They're meant for like summer camp, Christian summer camps. Back in the days when people actually sang hymns. But anyway, getting to the point, my second parts try to stay in the harmonies, but also work as a duet. Anyway, so what we're talking about here is honoring the original harmonies, honoring the original mood, its theme and variations. And the reason I mention that it's a simple statement of the theme the first time is because when it gets more elaborate, it's still rooted in that original harmony. So you never get to that point where it's just so bizarre that people can't recognize it anymore. And I truly believe that because it was done in theme and variations form, and that first statement was so clean and simple and pure, that people are still enjoying that melody, that harmony, that flow of the Christmas carol. They're still enjoying that, even though we're doing arpeggio patterns and maybe a fanfare pattern here or some glissandos or whatever. We never take away from that original, what it's supposed to be. And I actually believe this is why the Trumpet Hymn Duet books is selling better than all my other books. We were already selling a lot of books before this. And those books are still selling. The One Range book still sells. The Chops Express book still sells. Celebration still sells. Why does all of a sudden the Trumpet Hymn Duets is selling much more than all the rest of them? It's because of this. Yes, it's creative, but it's creative within that boundary. And so anyway, I wanted to point that out, and I'm going to state it one more time, what we're talking about here. And I actually have said it so many times that I can quote it now. These duets honor the melody. I keep saying melody. The melody too, of course. These duets honor the harmony and the mood of the original Christmas carols. And in the case of the hymns, the original hymns. And that is the essence of this series of duets. It's been actually very exciting for me to write these. Anyway, so the next thing I want to talk about is how we chose these duets. How did we choose these Christmas carols? The truth is, I put a survey up on my blog. Now, don't go to my blog anymore. I'm going to be taking that down. I don't know what I'm going to put in its place. But it's not really working so well for me. I have too many websites, and we're going to take the blog down. But when I was using the blog, I put up a survey, and I asked people to tell me what, I gave them a choice, I think 5, 7, something like that. What are your favorite Christmas carols? What would you like to see in the book? So, 75%-ish of these duets were chosen because they were at the top of that survey. There are a few that I added. Oh, and by the way, I should mention this too. There is one Christmas Carol duet in this series, in this book, that does not honor the original harmonies. And there's a story for that. It's the Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silence. It's actually a modern treatment, and I want to take a little sidestep to tell you how that ended up in the book. It's the last one in the book. I have this modern composition and technique that I use, and I was writing actually a duet using this technique. And when I realized that what I was writing was so close to that Christmas carol, I said, why don't we just push it all the way over and make it that Christmas carol? So I kind of readjusted some stuff. And even though it doesn't, the Christmas carol itself is not based on, what am I saying? The duet of that Christmas carol is not based on the original Christmas carol, the harmonies. But it still fits the mood, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I originally wasn't going to put it in the book. But when it was done, I'm like, this is not that far off from what I would want it to sound like. It's supposed to be like a Renaissance type piece. And really, the stuff that's in the hymnal doesn't give it justice anyway. What is that saying? Do it justice. It doesn't do it justice. So I thought, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and put it in the book. So, anyway, that's a tangent. Let's go back. Why did we choose these ones? 15 of them, 15-ish, are from that survey that I put out. And then there were others like Let All Mortal Flesh. I put that in there because I wanted that to be in there. Another one was Still, Still, Still. I put that one in there because I grew up with that one. I really like that melody. What else did I put in there? Oh, Kempis Carol. A lot of people don't even know that carol. I got exposed to it through a Paul Winter album. So, I didn't even know it was a Christmas carol, and I'm looking through all these Christmas carol books, and I'm like, wait a second, I know that song, and it was a song from one of those Paul Winter albums. Yes, I do listen to Paul Winter. I love Paul Winter's music. Kind of funny to have a serious trumpet player say that. But anyway, yes, most of these Christmas carols come from that survey. That's how we ended up choosing them. Now, I also want to tell you, I think I mentioned it before, but the book, the Christmas carols are in progressive order in terms of difficulty. It starts with Away in the Manger, and something worth pointing out on Away in the Manger, this is the only one I did this with. The way carols work, it's just like hymns. You can have this tune or you can have that tune. Some of them have multiple tunes. A lot of tunes have multiple hymns. So in my Away in the Manger, I have Mueller as the tune for the first two statements, and then I switch to the cradle song. So anyway, that's our first one, and then In the Bleak Midwinter is the second one, because you don't soup up In the Bleak Midwinter and stay true to the mood. You see what I'm saying? So yes, it gets more and more difficult until at the end. Now I told you that the last one was Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silence. Second to last, this is also worth pointing out. What made We Three Kings of Orient are so difficult as to be the penultimate duet is I added some grace notes. Really, they're played like mordents, but I wrote them as grace notes. In the second statement, I added mordents, and it gives it sort of that Eastern flavor, and that makes sense, right? We three kings of Orient. So I wanted to give it that extra flavor, but that extra flavor also took the skill level up a little higher. So that's why it's at the end of the book. If you take the mordants out, it's really not that hard. But you're missing the whole point if you take the mordants out. So yes, that's the hardest one in the book because of the mordants. Aside from let all mortal flesh keep silence. Now why is let all mortal flesh keep silence? Well, there's two reasons. One is because it does not keep to the harmonies. So it's almost apologetic. Let me put it at the end, right? Let me put this at the end because I broke my promise. But even more than that, because it's not traditional harmony, because it's a modern, and I would love to hear someone say, oh, I figured out what you did. I would love to hear someone say that. To me, it's like clear as day what the technique is, but I don't think most people would be able to pinpoint it. But anyway, it is technically atonal. It doesn't sound atonal, but what atonal means is there's no key. And it's not based on a key. My arrangement is not based on a key. And anytime you go outside of the tonal structure, the technique is a little bit more difficult just because our fingers don't automatically go there. So that does put it in a different difficulty skill level. Another thing worth mentioning before I sign off is the range in almost all of these is very limited. And that's for two reasons. The first reason is because I got more than one request. I got more than one request from people saying, don't you have anything that doesn't go above the staff? That when we put out the trumpet hymn duets, that was one of the only complaints, was that some of them were just too high. So I thought, you know what, let's make the majority of them only go up to the G above the staff. And for the most part, I honored that. I see an A here. Silent Night goes a little higher. I think it's got a high B in it. Here's Joy to the World. My Joy to the World has high Bs in it. But like I said, almost all the duets are limited in range. There are some A's, but that's like, here's Hark the Herald Angels Sing. It's got one A and one B above the staff. And the second reason why I decided to do that is because I play these on gigs. I've already played these duets on 2 gigs. I mix it up with Kenneth Baird's duet books. So because if I have a 2-hour duet gig, I haven't written enough. And I've been using Kenneth's book for years. In fact, I used to sell his books when we were selling physical products. Thank you, USPS, for making that end. I'm being sarcastic. We would love to still sell physical stuff. It's the postage just, we can't do that. So we stopped selling physical, I guess, about 4 or 5 years ago. Something like that, before COVID. But yes, when we're on a duet gig, it doesn't help to have a bunch of high notes all over the place. So I decided, since I knew a lot of these were going to be played on gigs, I didn't want to go up into the upper register that often. There's nothing wrong with going up every once in a while. And I'm looking around, most of them are just up to G. And I think a lot of people will be happy about that, okay? Just a few high notes in the book. And like I said, just to summarize one more time. The reason for that, people were requesting it, and I wanted to be practical for gigs. So, That said, if you have any questions about this stuff, I want you to feel free to ask. I do prefer that you ask. You can ask here on the video. Sometimes I don't get those. If you want to ask and make sure you get an answer, better to ask through my website at eddielewis.com. That's EDDIELEWIS.com. And then we have, if you want to just go straight and buy this stuff, the books, the sheet music, the play-along recordings, you can get that at tigermusicstore.com. That's Tiger, Tiger, music, music, store, store.com. And we have all of our download stuff there. It's only digital. I just said that earlier. We don't sell physical products anymore. Please. I have to every once in a while cancel someone's order because they thought they were ordering a book, a physical book. Please do not order thinking you're getting a physical item. We only sell digital products. If you want physical, you have to either go to Amazon or Lulu or places that have the digital stuff. I mean the physical stuff. The physical books are available. It takes it a little while. If you want coil bound, I recommend you go to Lulu because that's the only place you're going to get it. Coil bound is only available on Lulu. Alright, like I said, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. We will see you on the next video. God bless you.